Looking for a fun fall project? Today we are making these cute autumn food-shaped coasters, which are perfect for beginners and perfect for your fall table. Hello everyone and welcome to Amparo Wonderland. With the seasons changing, I wanted to make something cute and easy to make. So we've got our cute little pumpkin coaster, the apple, we've got our pumpkin pie, and of course our turkey. These patterns are very easy to follow and easy to make, so it is perfect for beginners. Today, we will be starting with these two cute little ones. So let's stop talking and let's get yarning! First, we need our materials. We need our crochet hook, which is a 5mm size crochet hook. We need our darning needle to weave in our ends. Of course, we need our best friends here, the stitch markers. We need a nice pair of scissors, which can be nice and sharp, better than dull. You will not have fun if you have dull scissors. And then we need our yarn color. We will start for the pumpkin. We need our orange colored yarn, which is called Desert Glaze from the brand I Love This Yarn. And we need our green colored yarn. We don't need a lot, which is why it looks like this. I am using the Yarn Bee color brand with the color green. When we are making our apple coaster, we will be needing the yarn color, again, green. I will be using this Yarn Bee brand once again. We need our color white, which is from this brand called I Love This Yarn. And again, color is called white. Again, from I Love This Yarn, I will be using the brown, which is called Cinnamon. And this is for the seeds in the middle of the coaster. And last but not least, we need the color red, which is the skin of the apple. And this is, again, from the brand I Love This Yarn. We will begin with our pumpkin coaster first. So go ahead and grab your orange colored yarn and your green for the stem. To start off our pattern, we are going to start with a magic ring. If you do not know how to make a magic ring, do not worry. I will show you step by step, or you can go on over to my card over here on the right side, which will show you a slower pace. Now, what we're going to do is that we're going to hold our yarn here and we're going to wrap it around our two fingers like this. And you're going to wrap it around twice. The second time, you are going to make an X. Now, we see our X here. We're going to go into this leg here on the bottom side. And then we're going to go and pull this leg there and pull it in. We're going to do like a little twist. And grab that leg again, the same one. That's considered your working yarn. You're going to put it through the loop in the back of your hook there. And now you have your magic ring. Da, 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 da. Very easy. Now, what we're going to do is that we're going to work into the magic ring there. Now, what we're going to do inside this magic ring is that we are going to do 6 half double crochet. So go ahead to do a half double crochet. We're going to yarn over first, which is your point, putting your yarn over the hook. And then your hook, you're going to go into your magic ring. So go right in there. You're going to yarn over again, so grab the yarn over your hook and pull up a loop. Now you have 3 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over and pull through those 3 loops that you have on your hook there. 1, 2, 3. And you've got your first half double crochet here. So go ahead and you're going to mark it up with your best friend here, the stitch marker, just like that. That way you can keep in mind of where your first stitch is, because we will be closing this magic ring after this round. Now, oh yes, I forgot. I must place my round counter. So my round counter over here, there you go, and we are in round 1. Sorry about that. Now, let's go ahead and create another half double crochet. We're going to make another of the same stitch inside your magic ring. So you yarn over just like that. You put your hook into the magic ring and you're going to yarn over again. You pull up your loop, yarn over, and pull that loop there through the back loops on your hook. And you've got 2 half double crochets now. Perfect. So now we're going to do that 4 more times because we want 6 half double crochet. I'll do it one more time a little quicker. You yarn over, put your hook in there, yarn over, pull up your loop, yarn over, and pull through those 3 loops, just like that. So go ahead and continue to do your half double crochets, and you're going to make 6 of them in total. Alright, so you've made it. If you're back, that means you have your 6 half double crochets. You want to make sure that you count after every round just to make sure that you do have the right number of stitches. Now what we're going to do is that we're going to close our magic ring. As you can see, it is open, and we're going to close it up to make the stitches form a little circle. Now we have our working yarn here. We're going to leave that alone. We're not going to touch that. You're going to have this other strand here. That's the one we're going to pull. And what we're going to do is that we're going to hold our magic ring here, and we're going to pull the string and just pull, 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 pull as much as you can. Just be careful not to snap it. And now your magic ring is closed, as you can see. Dun, 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 dun. Yay! Now what we're going to do is that we're going to go over to round 2. And for round 2, we are going to do what is called an increase. An increase is when you have 2 stitches in 1 stitch. And in this case, we are going to be doing half double crochet increases. Usually it's single crochets, sometimes it's double crochets. That's why you gotta follow your pattern, which, by the way, you do get to have your pattern. It is available for free in the description box down below. So I apologize if you did not know that before. Now, we're going to go into our stitch here, which is where our stitch marker is. So make sure you don't remove it too quickly. Make sure you're keeping track of where your first stitch is. Now, what we're going to do is an increase of half double crochets. So let's do a half double crochet into that first stitch first, which is what you've been doing. So you should have the hang of it. Okay, and we're going to mark it up with our best friend here. Just like so, and that's going to be our first stitch of the round. Okay, now you want to take a look at the stitches here. You just went through that stitch right there, and what you're going to do is that you're going to go through that stitch again. You're going to make another half double crochet into that same stitch. So you yarn over, go into that same stitch, going to yarn over and pull up your loop, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. And now you've got 2 stitches in 1 stitch, meaning you have an increase of half double crochets. That is a mouthful. Now you're going to do that into every single stitch. So that means that 2 stitches into 1 stitch, that equals 12 stitches in total for this round. So go ahead and create another increase. I'll help you along for this one again. So you're going to do a half double crochet into the next stitch. We're moving on to the next stitch here. You're going to yarn over, pull up your loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops. You're going to do it again. As you can see, this is where we worked into our stitch there. So create another half double crochet into that same stitch. There you go. So you've got 2 half double crochets in that same one, and now we've got 4 stitches in total. So go ahead and continue creating your increases into each stitch, and make sure that you do a half double crochet into each one. So in total you'll have 12 for this round. So go ahead and pause the video, and I'll see you when you get to the end of this row. Now we're gonna go over to round 3. Now for round 3, what we're going to do is that we are going to do 1 half double crochet and then an increase, and you repeat that pattern. 1 half double crochet, increase, 1 half double crochet, increase. So I'll show you first. I'm not going to just leave you hanging dry. go ahead and do a half double crochet into this first stitch here, just like so. And don't forget, you want to mark up your stitch every time you do the first stitch of the round. You want to mark it up because you will lose track and then you will want to punch yourself. Okay, now let's go ahead and move on to the next stitch here. The second stitch, we're going to do an increase of half double crochet, which is what we did in round 2. So you're going to yarn over, go into the stitch there. So as you can see, I put my hook through the V there, and the V is right on top of the hook now. You're going to yarn over, pull up your loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops, and you're going to do that again because we want to do an increase. Remember, an increase is when you have 2 stitches in 1 stitch, and in this case it is a half double crochet increase. So now we have 3 stitches now in this round, and we're going to do that again. So we did our half double crochet and then an increase. We're going to do that again, a half double crochet and then an increase. So let's go ahead and take care of that. Half double crochet, and then an increase in the next stitch. So we've got 2 half double crochets in that next stitch, just like that. Okay, and you want to continue that pattern. So half double crochet, increase, half double crochet, increase, and so on and so forth until you get to the end. Your last stitch should be an increase, and then you should have a total of 18 stitches for this round. Okay, all right, we made it. Now we're gonna go ahead and do round 4. Now for round 4, the pattern we are going to do, it is a 1 half double crochet, increase, half double crochet, half double crochet, increase, half double crochet. So you will have 2 half double crochets next to each other in different stitches before you do another increase. So let me show you that really quick. And again, you can get your free pattern in the description box down below. Don't forget, if you want to follow along with a written pattern and not just the visual. So let's go ahead and do our half double crochet in this first stitch here. And make sure you mark up that first stitch like that. And now we can do an increase of half double crochets. So that means 2 half double crochets in that 1 stitch there. And now we're going to do 1 half double crochet in the next stitch here. Good. Now we're going to repeat that pattern again. So we do another half double crochet, and then we do an increase. So that means 2 half double crochets in that same stitch, and then 1 half double crochet in the next stitch here. Okay, and you do that again. You do 1 half double crochet, an increase of half double crochets, and then 1 half double crochet in the next stitch, just like that. Okay, and continue that pattern all the way around, and you're gonna have 24 stitches at the end of this round. All right, we have made it to round 5. Let's go ahead and change that round counter up there. For round 5, it's going to be a little different. We're not just going around now. We are going around, but we're going to add some of the little hump there that a pumpkin has. And by doing that, we're going to follow this pattern here. Now, the first stitch here, we are going to do a slip stitch. So do a slip stitch. Oh, let me show you just in case you don't know how to do a slip stitch. You're gonna go into that next stitch there. You put your hook into the stitch, just like that. You're going to yarn over. You're going to pull up that loop, and that loop you're gonna pull through this back loop here. And that's a slip stitch, and that will be your first stitch. So you wanna go ahead and stitch it up, or mark it up, I mean, with your best friend. All right, so we did our slip stitch. Now we're gonna move on to the next stitch here, and we're going to create a single crochet. Just do a regular single crochet. I forgot, just in case you don't know how to do a single crochet. You want to go into the stitch here, you're going to yarn over and pull up your loop, yarn over and pull through these 2 loops here. And just so you know, I do have all of these are all basic stitches that you should learn when you are a beginner. I do have a video up already where it shows you all of the basic stitches. I'll have the card pull up here. So we did our single crochet here. We're gonna go into the next stitch here and we're gonna create 2 half double crochets. You already know how to make that, so go ahead and create those 2 half double crochets in the same stitch. So basically, technically, we are creating an increase into that stitch. Now we're gonna go into the next stitch here and we're gonna create 3 half double crochets. Okay, so 3 half double crochets into this next stitch here. So that's 1, 2, and 3. As you can see, it's starting to shape up and have that outer appearance. Now the next stitch, we are going to do 2 double crochets. We've been doing half double crochets and we're going to do double crochet now. To do a double crochet, you're going to yarn over. You're going to go into the same, that next stitch, I'm sorry, not the same one, the next stitch. You yarn over and pull up your loop. Now we have those 3 loops, right? You're going to yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops only. So first 2 loops, now you have 2 loops left. You're going to yarn over and pull through those 2 last loops again. So you have made a double crochet there. Let's do that again in the same stitch. We're going to do a double crochet. So yarn over, go into that same stitch, yarn over and pull up your loop. You've got your 3 loops there. Yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops. You've got 2 loops left. Yarn over and pull through the last 2, and you just did 2 double crochets. Yay! Okay, cool. Now we're gonna go into the next stitch here and we're going to create 3 double crochets. So you yarn over, go into that next stitch, yarn over and pull up your loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And you're gonna do that 2 more times in that same stitch. So 3 double crochets into that 1 single stitch. Just like that. Okay, now we're gonna go into the next one and we're gonna do the same thing. So 3 double crochets in that 1 stitch. So the next stitch is 3 double crochets. That's my second one, and I've got my third one here. Okay, now we're gonna go into the next stitch, and in the next stitch we're going backwards basically. So we're going to do 2 double crochets now. So do 2 double crochets. Great. Now the next stitch here, we're going to do 3 half double crochets. So 3 half double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so that's 3 half double crochets. Now we're gonna go into the next stitch here. We're gonna create 2 half double crochets. 1 and 2. You can see it's creating a shape there. Got 2 half double crochets there. Now the next one is going to be a single crochet. And then the last stitch here is going to be a slip stitch. Now I say last stitch because that pattern that we just did for this side, we're going to do it again on the other side. Now I'm going to continue creating this pattern. So if you need to rewind, if you don't want to get your free pattern, just rewind the video and I'll see you at the end of this row. Welcome back. As you can see, you now have your little pumpkin shape here. And what we're going to do now is that we're going to fasten off our orange colored yarn. And when you fasten off, you want to make sure you leave a good length of it, because if you do it too short, you won't be able to weave it in. So you want to give it a good 5-6 inches. So you snip it off. What we're going to do is that we're going to technically move on to the next row, which is going to be the stem of our pumpkin here. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to grab my green yarn here As you can see, we have our beginning stitch here from our last round that we just did. We're going to remove that stitch marker and we're going to work into that stitch, so don't lose sight of it. And what we're going to do is that we're going to go into that stitch there and we're going to switch colors. Now go ahead and grab your green and you're going to put it onto the hook and you're going to pull that green in through the stitch and then through the loop that's on your hook. Okay, so that's a slip stitch. Now that we did our slip stitch, we're going to do 5 chains. To do a chain, it's just like the slip stitch, so you're going to yarn over and pull up that loop, and that's 1 chain. You're going to do that 5 times, so that's 1, that's 2, that's 3, 4, and 5. Now we're going to turn this a little bit like this, sideways. So we're technically in round 7. What we're going to do is that we're going to work back on these chains and we're going to do single crochets into each chain, but we're going to start in the 2nd chain from the hook. So this is the 1st chain here, which is your last chain that you created. We're working into the chain after that, which is our 2nd chain from the hook. You're going to go into that chain right up top there, so between the 2 loops that are there. You're going to yarn over, pull up your loop, you're going to yarn over and pull through those 2 loops, and that's a single crochet. You're going to do that all the way down, so you're going to have 4 single crochets, which is our last stitch. Just tighten things up back here just to make sure that everything stays in place. And what we're going to do is that we're going to go back into that same stitch where your green is already in. So go right into that same stitch and you're going to do a slip stitch. So pull up your loop and go through that loop just like that. And now you have your little stem here. And like I said, just tighten things up so that way you can't see the change of color and it just looks nicer in there. Now we're going to fasten off our green. Again, just leave a good amount of yarn. You don't need it too long, but long enough to weave it in. Just like that. And now we're going to fasten off, which is you just literally pull that off like that. There you go. There you have it. Now you have your cute little pumpkin here. And what you're going to do to finish this off is that you are going to weave in your ends with the darning needle, which is this. If you don't have a darning needle, you can try using a smaller hook to help hide the yarn piece between the stitches in there. That is a good little trick just in case you don't have one of these handy dandy darning needle. Now, what I like to do with this strand here, because it is kind of in the front here, I like to bring that piece of yarn in the back. So we went through this, the same stitch, so you can go in through the next stitch if you wanted to, which is what I'm going to do for this remainder of the strand, so that way it can keep it in check and stay there like that. And what I like to do before weaving in my ends with the stem is that I like to tie a little knot so that way it can actually stay in place, just like that. Just like that. So I just do a double knot and then I weave in my ends. So now that you know how to make your pumpkin, you can go ahead and create your apple. To create your apple, you're going to need different colors. So let me get those colors really quick. And here we are, our colors that we need for our apple coaster. We have the white, which is the main color. We need a red for the rim of the apple, which is the skin. The brown color / called cinnamon, if you're using the same colors as I am. This is the cinnamon color for the seeds. And of course, our same green that we used for the stem of the pumpkin is the green that we will be using for the apple. Now, let me get this stuff out of the way. There you go. Now, we just need our white yarn to start off. As you can see, it's all white here. And then the last one has the red, and then we attach the stem just like we did for our pumpkin. I'm not gonna guide you through this one. I will only guide you through the last row because you are literally going to repeat the same exact pattern as you did for the pumpkin. You're just gonna use the white instead of the orange. So go ahead and repeat the pattern from rows 1 through row 4, okay? So when you finish row 4, I want you to come back here so that way I can show you how to create this red rim around the apple, okay? Welcome back. As you can see, I have my red yarn ready here, so make sure you grab your red yarn. Now we're going to follow that same pattern that we followed for the pumpkin in round 5. So go ahead and remove that stitch marker, but keep an eye on the stitch so you don't lose track. And what we're going to do is our slip stitch, but to do the slip stitch, we want to have red attached to it instead of the white. So go ahead and insert your hook in there, and instead of using this white one, we're going to go ahead and grab our red yarn, and we're going to pull it in there like we did with the green when we did the stem. And just pull it in and then just go through that back loop and you have your slip stitch there. So go ahead and mark up that stitch there. It's technically the red one, but just to make it easier, I'm gonna mark up that last one that we did. Now tighten things up a little bit so that way you don't lose your yarn. It's a little bit on the difficult side, so this is why we are stepping our game up. At the end we can tighten things up a little better, so don't you worry too much about it. Now this red yarn, make sure you have a good length here because you're going to weave that in at the end. So make sure you extend it as much as you can, but not too much because then it'll get in the way. Now go ahead and grab your white yarn. We're going to have that ready. And into the next stitch here, we're going to go and create our single crochet. But what we're going to do is we're going to put our hook in, and you're going to pull up that loop like you normally have been doing, but instead of finishing off with the white one, we're going to grab our red working yarn and we're going to finish that stitch with the red yarn. So it's a little difficult because your loops do go a little bit undone, but that's okay. Just pull your stitches down and you will be just fine. So as you can see, I made the stitch with the white there, but the top part of it is red, which is the skin of the apple. Let's do that again. So in the next stitch, we are going to do a increase of half double crochet. So 2 half double crochets in that next one. So grab your white yarn, you're going to yarn over and go into the next stitch here. You yarn over and pull up your loop. Now we're going to yarn over one more time, but we're going to do it with the red one because we want to finish our stitch with the red color. So that way we can have the filler of a white, but the edge is going to be red. Just like that. Like I said, just tighten your stitches as you go, just so it doesn't look too loose when you get there. We're going to go ahead and switch up the color again with the white. So grab your white color and you're going to do another half double crochet. So you yarn over, go into that same stitch, yarn over and pull up your loop. And instead of yarning over with the white, we're going to let the white go and grab the red, and we're going to yarn over and pull through the 3 loops there. And we have another red stitch there. The next one is 3 half double crochets, so just do that same process. So you finish the stitch with the red color, like that. Then you switch with the white again and do another half double crochet. As you can see, it's taking up that shape, but also having the red border for the skin of the apple. Now the next stitch is going to be the double crochets. So you're going to yarn over and go into that next stitch, yarn over. For this one, we stay with the white. You yarn over and pull up. You yarn over and pull through the 2 loops, but we're going to finish the stitch with the red. So right here is where you drop and grab the different color, the red, you yarn over, and you created your border. Okay, let's do that again. We need 2 double crochets, so yarn over, go into that same stitch, yarn over and pull up your loop. Yarn over and pull through 2, drop the white, and grab the red. Yarn over and pull through the last 2. You finish your stitch with the red color. Okay, so you're just gonna keep doing that all the way around, and you're gonna start your stitch with the white and finalize the stitch with the red. So just keep going with that process all the way around, following that pattern, so that way you can have that shape but also have the rim of the red. So, all right, here we are. So your last stitch should have been a slip stitch with the red. So the red should be on your hook right now. What I'm going to do to make this a little easier is that I am going to fasten off my red and white colors because I don't need them anymore. But remember not to fasten off too short because then you will have a hard time weaving the ends in. So just give yourself a good amount so that way you can take care of it. Okay, so we have finished our stem here, and I have weaved in my end. So if you have not done that yet, go ahead and take care of that because we are going to do the seeds. Now, to do the seeds, we need our darning needle here and the color cinnamon, which is the brown color. And we're just going to thread this yarn right into the darning needle here. And what we're going to do with this is that we're going to embroider the seeds into the apple. Now, to embroider the seeds, we gotta go do a line here, and then the other line is going to be around this area here. So we're going to start from the back, and I'm going to put my startup seed here. And just go all the way, and you want to leave a bit of a strand here so that way you can either weave it in or tie it up when you're done. And now we're going to go to the bottom over here. I kind of skip a stitch and I go into the next one, and you just go in there and just keep an eye out in the back here so that way you don't go too fast. You want to make sure it stays in place and that you don't pull too far because then this will go right through. Now that you did that, I'm going to go ahead and do it again. We're going to have like a double strand. So go up at the top and then back down to the bottom. And just make sure that that strand stays on the right side or the left side, wherever you want to put it. So that way it's 2 little lines and it gives it a thicker appearance. Like that. Now I'm going to go to the back over here, and what we're going to do is that we're going to go on this side over here. And I'm going to put it like right here so that way it's kind of parallel with each other. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Like so. And it's going to look a little like this. It's not the neatest, but you know, it's okay. You're looking at the front, not the back. And now I'm going to go down here so that way it's aligned with the other seed here. And we're going to go all the way just like so. And we're going to do that again like we did on the other side. So go up at the top, the same hole, just like that. And then we're going to go down again in the same hole. And like I said, make sure you try to keep that floss or that yarn aligned on the left side instead of having it overlap. So that way it's a side-by-side line so it can have that thicker look to it. Okay, so we've got our 2 seeds there, and now we're gonna go and turn our piece around here. And what I like to do is that I kind of like to thread my yarn across so that way I can get back to the beginning yarn here. And the reason I like to thread across is because I don't want it to look too messy, but just make sure that when you thread across that you don't go into the front because then you'll be able to see the brown in the front, and you don't want that. You want to keep it a superficial threading across the stitches here. And now what I'm going to do is that I am going to create a knot. Just make sure that when you create this knot, it isn't too tight because then you will make the front part cinch up and make the seed look smaller and funky looking. And I'm gonna do a double knot so that way I can make sure that it does stay in place. The second knot, you can do it a little tighter. And then I'm just gonna simply snip off the edges just like this, as close to the knot as I can. And that's it. You got yourself an apple coaster. So now you have your apple and your pumpkin coaster. Yay! And we are done. Yay! Nice. So now you know how to create the apple and the pumpkin. If you do want to expand them and make them a little bigger, you can easily just grab a bigger sized hook, or you can try using double crochets instead of the half double crochets for the main base, and you can see how that goes. And for the next video, we are going to be doing the pumpkin pie and the turkey coaster, which are super cute as well. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So make sure you subscribe so that way you can be notified when that video goes live. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, let me know in the comment section down below. If you did enjoy this video, you are going to love this video over here, which shows you how to create your very own crochet patterns. So if you are interested, definitely go ahead and check it out. And as always, thank you for coming by, and I hope to see you in the very next one. Bye!